Hey, I'm Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates, and today we're going to talk about the two main fears that home buyers have coming up. The number one fear that home buyers have is process driven. How do I buy a house? How does this work? How do I go from thinking about buying a house to actually making it a reality? This is a question that people ask me, people that I know, just walking around in everyday life, and it's a conversation that I have with every single home buyer in a formal consultation. Every single home buyer that works with me sits down, we talk about their needs and wants, we talk about the process right here because it's a big fear, and we talk about what those next steps look like afterwards. So if you're somebody that's watching this video and you're fearful, you're thinking, you're asking questions like, how does this work? How do I buy a house? How do we make this happen? First of all, I do lots of videos just like this one, and there's a few specific ones that I talk through the entire home buying process. I don't want to take this video as an opportunity to rehash something that I've already done, but I'm going to link up my most recent video on the home buying process in 7 steps, and that will be down in the description, accessible for you. Now, the reason people are typically fearful about the process is because they've never done it before. And I found in my own life, if I've done something before, I'm a lot less fearful to go and do it again or to do it better or do it different. But when I've never done it before, sometimes it causes me to not want to do it. And I don't know if you've ever found yourself in that situation where you know you should do it and you want to do it, but you've never done it and you don't have somebody to show you how to do it, so you just kind of don't do it. And what I've learned is you don't do it. So my advice to you is, as you're watching this video, reach out to those people that you know that can help you get to where you want to be. If you want to buy a house and you've never done it before and you don't know how it works, reach out to somebody that does. And if you're watching this and you don't know somebody, feel free to reach out to me. Just like I've linked up the video on the home buying process down below, my contact information is also down there. I want to be a resource for you. I put out these videos because I want to bring massive value to you as a first-time home buyer or somebody that's new to the area, but I also want to be a resource for you personally. So if you want to talk about your individual situation in greater detail, I'm happy to do that as well. Now, the other main fear that home buyers have, specifically first-time home buyers, is revolving around the money. How do I get the money to make this purchase? So after thinking about, oh my gosh, how does this process work? How do I do it? Okay, well, cool. Now I'm confident about how the process works, but I still don't know how to get the money. And this is the piece of the process that I don't specifically deal with as much. My job is more process driven and service driven, but you're going to want to get pre-approved for a mortgage. That's going to be that second educational step. So you've got the first step is kind of learning about the process. That other step is getting pre-approved for a mortgage and learning what your budget is. So part of that is on you, figuring out what your budget is. I have a personal budget myself that I reconcile every month and I walk through with my wife, and I highly recommend having a budget so you know what your income and your expenses are and how much you're saving every month. Now, on the loan side, you're going to want to go through that formal pre-approval process. Now, you could just go online randomly to different websites and try out the different mortgage calculators and speculate about what your income is and what you think you can afford as a down payment, things like that. The mortgage calculators, they're not a bad tool. I think they're a starting point. And so even myself, if I'm just kind of have a wild hair and I'm like, man, maybe I want to get another house. What could I afford? That's an easy place to just go and maybe do some quick math. But I'm also a professional in this real estate space, and I know how the mortgage process works. And so I have a really good idea for which variables to change and how to change them to give myself a more accurate mortgage calculator. The best way to go about this process is to actually talk to a loan officer and get a formal approval. What the mortgage calculator does is gives you kind of a pre-qualification. And back when my mom was a real estate agent, that's how you did it. You would come in as a buyer and you would talk to me, and in our home buyer consultation, we talk about the process, and I'd also pre-qualify you. And we'd walk through a few questions, and I would tell you, okay, yeah, based on what you've told me, this is what you can afford. The challenge with that is none of it's verified. It's just based on what you're telling me, and I'm just kind of guessing as well which programs you might fit. I'm not going to be able to really advise you much. I'm going to say, oh, yeah, you should qualify for this house. Let's go take a look. The pre-approval process, you're going to go through a formal process. The lender is going to look at your income, how much you make. They're going to look at your assets, how much you have, and they're also going to pull your credit. So they're going to take information from you. They'll have a questionnaire, and you'll answer those questions, and you'll disclose what you make, but you're also going to provide documentation. So it's not just a verbal thing, it's an actual documentation, right? This is your pay stub. It's pretty obvious. You're also going to provide them information on your accounts that you have. So you're going to give them bank statements, you're going to give them statements from your different retirement accounts, etc., and they count all that as part of your savings. They're looking at your income, how much you make. They're looking at your savings, how much you have, what you have to put down, and then they're also going to pull your credit. So they'll do a formal credit pull, and they're going to have all that information laid out in front of them, and they'll be able to run it by their different guidelines for the different loan programs and be able to advise you on the best programs for your situation. Now that we've talked about the money, you might be asking a follow-up question, well, who do I talk to about that? And again, I want to be a resource for you in this department as well. Not only do I want to help with the process, but I want to make sure that you get really good advice on the mortgage side and that you are set up for success there. So I might not personally handle that, but I've done this a lot of times with a lot of different home buyers, and I've done it myself. So I have a few awesome recommendations on the mortgage side, specifically local to the Seattle area. So if you find yourself asking these questions, how do I buy a house, or how do I get the money to make a purchase? You are in the same boat as a lot of first-time home buyers, and these could potentially be pretty big, prohibitive fears if you allow them to be. And what I want to do here is just throw myself out there again. Hey, I want to help. I want to be a resource for you. So if you're watching this video and you have questions about the process specific to you, or you find yourself watching this video and you're like, how the heck do I get the money to make a purchase? Assuming that you're not paying cash, please feel free to use me as a resource. You'll find lots of other valuable videos and content on this channel, so please subscribe and take a look at some of the other content. And I'll make sure to add a few good links down there in the description for you to check out and continue your education. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it brought a lot of value to your situation. In fact, I know that it did. So please give this video a thumbs up. And if you could, please share it with somebody else who could benefit from it. We'll talk soon.